Hello, YouTube! Now, I have just been recently introduced to Games of War. And, honestly, I like the guy. I gotta say, from what I watched, I really like the guy. He seems to know his stuff. He's a collector, and I like to see collections. And I was watching one of his videos where he was going off some of the games that he called his prized possessions, or things that he thought were really great that he had in his collection, and he also said that he liked watching collections and so on and so forth. So I thought, why don't I do that too? See what he thinks. So this is a video response to that, if you will, and without further ado, let's get to it. First thing I want to show off is Street Fighter 4 Collector's Edition, which I have in my hand right here. There it is there. There's the front. There's the back. I actually got the regular edition of this before I got the collector's edition, and it's fantastic. You get a movie, you get the soundtrack. Granted, it's not the whole thing, mind you, when you get the game, so it was really cool and really awesome, and definitely worth the price that I paid for it. And it's in pretty good shape as it is right now. A couple little kinks here and there, but overall it's in really good condition. Next is a game I got at GameStop, surprisingly used, is the Assassin's Creed Collector's Edition in the tin and everything, and it was great. It was actually cheaper than getting the game itself used, which was surprising. There's actually another story where a similar fate bestows that, but it's a really great tin box if you didn't see it there, and it's in pretty good condition for going through a lot of moving and stuff, but it's been really good. I still have the game, and it's fantastic. The next thing would be the other game that I got cheaper than the regular edition, and this I got brand new at an independent store in Nova Scotia back when I was living there for like $40. If you went to like GameStop to get this like used, not just the regular edition, it was gonna set you back $44. So this was like $4 cheaper, and it came with a t-shirt, which I'm not currently wearing, but I do wear it you know, a lot because it's an awesome shirt and stuff. But this was a nice find. Nice tin, still got everything. Still haven't even used the tournament chart that came with it. Of course, Dead Rising 2 Zombrex Edition, which was the only edition to come to Canada, as I noticed that the High Stakes Edition was released in the States, and you can get that off of the Capcom store now, but it wasn't available in Canadian stores directly, which was kind of super disappointing, and it was just kind of like crap, right? I'm sorry for looking behind you, I was just setting it down and stuff. And the next game is a game that I was so glad to get, and I literally got up the morning and ran down to Future Shop before it opened, lined up before it opened. They had 6 copies of this, and I was like number 3. And that is Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Fate of Two Worlds. Of course, the nice tin. My only problem with the tin is that Wesker is not featured anywhere near, and Wesker is one of the main characters I used in Marvel 3 as well as Ultimate Marvel 3. He's just an all-around badass, and I was kind of disappointed he's not there, but what can you do? It's still a great looking case, shiny as well. Gotta love shiny things, right? And yeah, I was like the third person in line. They had like 6 PS3 versions, 2 Xbox versions, and it was just like, wow, apparently they got snuffed by the shipping about it and what have you, but what can you do? The next game would be Street Fighter Cross Tekken Collector's Edition. I have the piggy bank, I have everything. It's a fantastic game if you're new to fighters. If you're a veteran, you may not like it because it is a bit on the easy side. Like, it's still got that challenge, but it's definitely for new fighters and things like that. But it's a great game. And now I'm gonna get into. Oh wait, no, I got 2 more games in the collector's edition vault, if you will. This I got for $19 at Walmart. It's been through some rough shape due to moving and whatnot, but Resistance 2. The game case, which you can see on the back here, is the better game case out of the 2. I like this game case here better than the one you get regularly because it's just so much nicer. And, you know, you get the bonus disc, you get the weapon, you get an art book, which was fantastic, and you get the figure. It was all fantastic and definitely a lot of fun with this game. So, but I got that recently, I think last year or so, for about 20 bucks at a Walmart. I was very happy to find that. And ironically, at the time, they were selling the regular edition for $30, but they were selling the collector's edition for $20. I don't know how that works, but that's how it worked. Yay me, I guess. The second to last collector's edition I will be showing is Fallout New Vegas. I am a huge fan of the original Fallouts, Fallout 3, and, you know, Fallout Brotherhood wasn't that bad. But New Vegas was just fantastic. If you haven't checked it out, I'd recommend it. It's only like 20 bucks, or you can get it for like 50 with all the DLC. So it's really fantastic. And the presentation for this, as I grab it again, is just overall fantastic. The cards were great. The chips were great. The graphic novel was fantastic. It was a great package. It was just a shame that I got it at GameStop because they charged me $5 more than the store. And that was the funny thing too about Dead Rising and and Fallout was the store that is directly underground from the EB that I picked those up from was selling them for $5 cheaper. But and the thing is with pre-orders, right? Some independent stores can't pre-order collector's editions for whatever reason, and it's kind of unfortunate. So I would go to EB and it's just like. Damn. But, you know, I haven't pre-ordered from EB in a while because I found another independent store that's really good with pre-orders. The next collector's edition is the biggest one, and this I actually got for like 30 bucks at a GameStop, brand new. Been through some water damage because I had some water issues or window issues, and it was raining really hard one night and it just got kind of destroyed on the bottom, but the contents inside are all still perfectly healthy, and that is BioShock 2. And holy crap, is this thing heavy and also slidey. But this game is fantastic. If you're a fan of, you know, the BioShock world, and if you're into System Shock, if you ever played System Shock 2 or 1, this has a lot of the BioShock series has a lot of System Shock similarities and things like that, so it's really great. So if you're a fan of System Shock and haven't checked this out, I'd recommend it. It's really good, and as you can see, like the water damage there, it's mostly on the back side that you can really see it. But just a fantastic collector's edition. I was really glad to get this for like 30 bucks brand new at a GameStop, no less. Now, the next title I feel, or titles I should say, I'm going to do this by collections of series, is a franchise that was much bigger in Japan than its rival at the time. Of course, now they're not really rivals because they're the same company now, as I get them. And they weren't really released in North America till much later, per se, because they stopped with number 4, but all the way up to number 5, 6, and so on are starting to show up on the DS and whatnot, even 4 and 3 and so on. But that is if you can even see this good, but I'll just do it like this now, is the Dragon Quest series Of course, Dragon Quest was a huge hit in Japan. As a matter of fact, it's way bigger than Final Fantasy in Japan, which is hard to believe given the fact that everybody loves Final Fantasy VII and all that stuff. And I love the Final Fantasy series, but I also like the Dragon Quest series. And I was very happy to get these. These are all for the Super Famicom, of course. They all came complete in box, and the boxes are in decent shape. The cartridges are in great shape. The manuals are in pretty good condition, and you know, they all come with trays, so it was really nice. Fantastic series. If you haven't checked it out, they're available on the games are available on the DS. There, of course, is Dragon Warrior 1, 2, 3, 4, Dragon Quest VII on the PlayStation 1, and Dragon Quest VIII on the PlayStation 2, and Dragon Quest IX on the DS, and I think they came out with Dragon Quest X on the Wii. So that's the Dragon Quest. Very great series. Glad to get the imports for that. The next is my Legend of Zelda. My Legend of Zelda stuff. This is more my Japanese stuff, since it's not that hard to find Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword yet. So, although I am very happy to have those games. So, of course, here we have A Link to the Past, which is actually Kimigami no Triforce in Japanese. Virtually the same game. Of course, this came box complete. It was very nice and a lot cheaper than the North American counterpart. That's what I love about the Japanese versions, is they were a lot cheaper than the North American counterparts. And as I'm showing you Ocarina of Time, interesting story. I got this off eBay, but it didn't come with the selection of games, so the seller was nice enough to give me my money back, and I thought the game wasn't going to come, and it came like 2 weeks later, and I was very happy with that. So technically I got it for free. And then, of course, Majora's Mask, which was about, I think I paid $60 for this, for the game complete with manual and tray and everything. It was worth the money, especially when you consider that I got Ocarina of Time for free, so it's almost like, you know, it was $30 and $30, if you will. So it was kind of nice to see that as I flipped the games over again. The next game, in terms of a series, in terms of gems I hold near and dear to me, are the Final Fantasies, as I start with 6. And the interesting thing was about Square Enix and a couple Japanese games, especially with the JRPGs, is a lot of them are like this, where the cover art you need to twist sideways, and you have to have them like this. Very, very fantastic series going on here with 6, and then 5, which was never released in North America until the Game Boy Advanced. Of course, Final Fantasy 6 was Final Fantasy 3. Even though I believe we got Final Fantasy 3 on the Nintendo Entertainment System, I believe. So it was kind of weird getting 2 3s, if that is true. I could be wrong. And then, of course, Final Fantasy 4, which would be Final Fantasy 2 in North America. Overall, fantastic title. And I also apologize if the games are blocking my face at any time. Again, low tech, low budget, what can you do? But, and then of course, Final Fantasy 13, 2, Collector's Edition. Haven't played it yet. Very happy to have it. Nice soundtrack, nice everything. I love the demo. I will eventually be playing this game at some point, but just overall fantastic, and I can't wait for Final Fantasy 13 3, because you know that's going to happen. For those of you who think, oh no, they're going to make us pay for the end, no, they're going to make a whole new game for this monster. The last set of series games, if you will, as you hear some cartridges rolling, is probably my most favorite survival horror / game franchise ever, and I have all of them, multiple copies, so on and so forth. But I do have, I'm only missing a few here and there, and the newest game looks absolutely fantastic. But without further ado, Resident Evil. Resident Evil 4 was the first one I ever played, to say the least. The PlayStation 2 version, of course. It's the first one I played. Fantastic title. Got me hooked in the series so much that I went back and got them all. So, Resident Evil 4 was my start. Resident Evil 5 was not my finish. I actually finished Resident Evil 0 recently. So, Resident Evil 4 again, this time the Wii version. Kind of a nice version. The controls seem to work, which is weird for a Wii game because they don't usually work, especially when you can only use one hand, man, I'm telling you. Some of these things are freaking crazy. Of course, Resident Evil 4 again. But the franchise in general is just simply fantastic. It's got a lot of horror elements, got a lot of blood, got a lot of gore, got a lot of good story, little cheesy voice acting here and there. But that's all good, that's all good. Of course, the Japanese Dreamcast version of Code Veronica, and of course in Japan it is known as Biohazard and not Resident Evil. Ironically, when the announcer announces the game, because you know how it always goes, Resident Evil 4 or 5 or 3 or 2 or 1, in that they go Biohazard. So it's kind of weird that they would give it another title altogether. Of course, the Umbrella Chronicles signed by a lot of people. Yes, signed by a lot of people, mostly game journalists and so on and so forth. Really great stuff. The game holds up, man. I can't wait to get the PS3 versions of these, especially if they're coming out on disc. But really great arcade shooter, shoot 'em up, on-rail shooter. Of course, Resident Evil 0. Got this for like $10. Was kind of nice, and I think the disc is loose, and I am right. Thought it was scratched there for a second. My apologies there. I freaking hate when games come somehow loose in their cases, because it makes no sense. Of course, the original Resident Evil remake, which was the GameCube port onto the Wii. I prefer the remake because the remake has Lisa Travers, and it was just like all this other stuff. Now I hear that Resident Evil on the Saturn, which I am about to pick up, has another creature as well, so that should be good stuff. And of course, the original beast itself, only the director's cut, and the disgusting greatest hits, Resident Evil. Once again, signed by some good friends of mine and in the game industry, including Video Games Live's own Tommy Tallarico. So, of course, Resident Evil 2, good stuff here. And I lied about the collector's edition thing, obviously, with that, but also Operation Raccoon City. With Raccoon City, it was just a joy to play through, and it's awesome, and if you haven't got it, pick it up, and it's made in Canada, so nothing wrong with that. Really, I don't know what the hell other reviewers were saying what they did about it, because it was just fantastic. Of course, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, stars, and all that good stuff. Probably my favorite out of all of them, although 4 is pretty freaking fantastic, and I can't wait for 6, but 3 was kind of Jill's last game, and Jill I prefer over Chris, so I hope they bring her in there somewhere into Resident Evil 6. Of course, Code Veronica X on the PS2, the 5th year anniversary Resident Evil edition, so on and so forth, and yeah, and it's got the, you know, more Wesker stuff, so that's all great. However, graphically I prefer the Dreamcast version rather than the PS2 and GameCube. So that does it for the series part. Now here's just some games that I am particularly fond of. Of course, Super Metroid on the Super Famicom box, complete, all that stuff. One of the greatest Metroid games ever, if not one of the greatest games ever. Literally hours of fun in this game. It's got tons of replayability, and it's just an all-around blast from the past, man. Of course, the Japanese version of Secret of Mana, which is actually the second game of this franchise, because for some reason we didn't get the first one here in North America, and I don't even think we got Secret of Mana 2 in North America, but yeah, Secret of Mana right here. Really great stuff. I absolutely love the series, and again, I have a special place for JRPGs, especially the Japanese imports. I was very happy to get those, and they're much cheaper than their North American counterparts. Super Smash Brothers, which is actually not Super Smash Brothers. It's actually Nintendo All-Stars Super Smash in Japan. So, very happy to get this. This was one of my first imported in N64 games after I started getting back into N64 and so on. And I was very happy to pick this up at ANC Games in downtown Toronto. If you're in the downtown Toronto area, you gotta check out ANC Games, man. It's fantastic, because it's where I got most of my consoles from, and it's where I got a couple of import games from there, but not all of them, because they're cheaper on eBay and whatnot. Not quite a Japanese import, but Legend of Dragoon, Sony's RPG. It was fantastic. I don't know why they haven't come out with a sequel, but this game is magnificent. Check it out, play it if you haven't, and it's just fantastic. And I lied again about collector's editions, because here's Halo 2 collector's edition. I'm a fan of Halo 1, 2, not so much of 3, haven't played Reach enough to really get an opinion about it, but Halo 2 by far is my favorite out of the Halo series, and I don't really play Microsoft games that much, as we heard these all fall over, but in general it was pretty good. Resistance 1, signed by Marcus Smith. He worked on this one, but he was the creative director on 3, and it was fantastic meeting him at a press conference, and really good stuff. So, well, it wasn't really a conference, it was more of a press event for Resistance 3, and I got to interview him and stuff, so that was kind of fun to do. And a particularly rare game to find these days, but the Orange Box on the PlayStation 3. I love the Orange Box. I love the PS3 version the most. I don't have the PC version, of course, but so that's why that one's my favorite, and I don't know how well I enjoy the PC version, but we'll get into that if I ever get the PC version. More import games. The Breath of Fire series. Fantastic game by Konami, as that was Breath of Fire 2, and this is Breath of Fire 1, the original. Fantastic RPG series, really got to check it out if you can. They're a bit on the expensive side unless you know where to look and so on, but they are absolutely fantastic. Would definitely recommend you check them out. Only a few games left to go here on the Dreamcast. Evolution 2 and Evolution 1. Fantastic stuff here with Evolution 1. Kind of underrated. It's a great JRPG if you can get your hands on it. I know these games are a little hard to find because, again, Dreamcast is long and gone, but if you can find them, they're absolutely fantastic. And I wish the series would come back. Or if you have a GameCube, you can get the GameCube versions of the games, which are on one disc, which is kind of nice. But, yeah, some really great stuff. This game I'm particularly happy to get, which is Lunar 1, Silver Star Story, on the Saturn. It wasn't that expensive. Game Arts makes fantastic RPGs. If you're a fan of RPGs, you gotta check these out. Whether you get the Sega CD version, the Sega Saturn version, the PlayStation version, whichever version you get, you gotta check it out because they are fantastic. And of course, Vampire Hunter Darkstalker's Revenge, of course. I'll be planning on getting Vampire Savior, which is the sequel to this one. This is just a fantastic fighting game series. If you haven't played it, I would recommend you do. Of course, Morrigan and a few characters are in Ultimate Marvel 3 and Marvel 3, and especially Marvel 2 and all that good stuff. And of course, Super Mario RPG, complete in the box, fantastic stuff, really good stuff. One of the best RPGs you'll ever play, with Nintendo characters in them anyway. And just all around good stuff. And the last game I want to show off is something I think Gears, or Games of War, will enjoy, because I know he's such a fan of the Tales series. But Tales of Phantasia, the original Super Famicom version, in pristine condition, complete in the box, for the Super Famicom. I know he has the Game Boy Advance one, but this was the game that started it all for those of you who are fans of the Tales franchise. Excellent game, excellent franchise. It's the game that started it all. If you like Tales and you haven't checked out Phantasia, you can either check it out on the Super Famicom or you can check it out on the Game Boy Advance. Both really hard to find and a bit of on the expensive side if you don't know where to look. But I would definitely recommend you check them out. Out of preference between the two, I prefer the Super Famicom version. Yes, it's all in Japanese, but it's not really such a big deal in terms of that. I hope you have enjoyed games that I think are gems that are in my collection, and I hope to see you all here next time on YouTube.